What does it mean to be an American? There are many factors socially and politically that define Americans. In this video, I'm focusing on the freedoms given to Americans, specifically the right to vote. America was started on the prospect of wanting the people to run the government and not have the power in one central figure, the king. While we do have a president, there are also two other branches, each designed to make sure the other does not overstep boundaries provided in the Constitution, in a system known as the checks and balances system. The United States model of democracy inspired many countries to move towards a more democratic model of government. Most countries have some form of elections, but according to Freedom House's 2017 report on freedom around the world, democracy has taken a hit, with the world freedom rates continuing a 12-year decline. As of 2018, almost all recognized countries in the world have some form of elections, but with many countries not enforcing voting laws or rigging the elections. The most notable countries within this last decade alone being North Korea, Russia, Uzbekistan, Cuba, and Singapore. These are just some of the few countries in which the people's vote doesn't matter. For example, in the case of North Korea, released polling data shows that 100% of voting-age citizens voted, and they all voted for Kim Jong-un. While there were elections, the ballots were out in the open for anyone to see who you voted for, and there were enforcers watching and make sure everyone voted. Those who did not vote suffered severe consequences, with voting being mandatory and at the risk your entire family is shunned and punished. Unlike those other countries, the United States' Constitution protects voter rights and defines who can and what to vote for. There are 6 parts of the Constitution in which voting is mentioned. In Article 2 and the 12th, 15th, 19th, and 24th and 26th Amendments. Our founding fathers did not include much of the population in who could originally vote, but through the years and many amendments and hard-fought civil rights movements later, everyone meeting the vote requirements such as age and citizenship status can become a registered voter. I got to sit down with a member from my local city council, Adrian Hernandez, and we talked about many different aspects of voting. One of the reasons he believes voting defines America is the way we vote. Listen here.
Voting, I think, is a lot of people consider it to be quite unique here because it is one of our most quintessential fundamental rights, I suppose. And I think that the ability then to vote or to exercise your vote is something that is it's so powerful that I think there's just so much that it can get attached to it emotionally or policy-wise. I mean, there's a lot of things that are kind of go along with that.
The way the people run the government is through voting. Voting is your part and say in the government. There are 3 levels of elections: local, state, and national elections. On a local ballot, there might be things to vote for such as city officials, city council positions, city legislation, county positions, local taxes, and the mayor. At the state level, there would be state legislation, state positions, state officials, state taxes, and there's representatives and senators to represent state at the national level. And then at the national level, the main one is the president. While there are more people who vote in the national presidential election, the other elections are just as important. Your voice is more directly heard, and it has a greater impact in the local and state elections. While all of the elections are vital to this country, if you want your voice to be heard, start at the local level. Vote for the legislation that you want. A lot of the time, major legislation starts at the local and state levels and works its way up to being implemented everywhere in a system known as a grassroots movement. I also interviewed my high school librarian, Mrs. Penny, who was a local election clerk for the 2018 midterm elections, and she had a personal role in the election in helping people to register and to make sure they are registered before voting on election day. We talked about many things in the interview, but what stuck out the most to me was the way she described our civic duty to vote. Listen here.
Why should you vote? One of the best aspects of being an American is all the freedoms that we enjoy, especially our freedom of speech. And in my opinion, voting is just another method by which we can let our voices be heard. If you don't exercise your right to vote, it's like relinquishing your right to speak, and none of us wanted to do that. Yet millions of Americans every year forfeit their right to express themselves at the ballot box.
As this video ends, I want to leave you with something to think about.
I read a quote that we say all the time: voting is not, it's just not an activity, it's a lifestyle. And so when we're talking to our young people, and I'm sure there's plenty in here,
Yeah.
they have to see voting as essential as they see eating, because it changes so much.
So go out and vote, exercise your political power, and take advantage of your future. Voting is a vital part of being an American, and it is what being an American